friends, and welcome to your horoscope for June of 2022. We're Capricorn this month. I do have a question for you. Are you getting enough rest? Are you getting enough downtime? Is there stuff going on that feels a little bit overwhelming and you're like, I need to just have some downtime? Well, we've got a beautiful full moon that I think is going to help you take care of that. In addition, we've got Mercury coming out of retrograde, Saturn and Neptune both stepping into retrograde as well, and your 7th house of relationship is getting a little bit of light. So let's talk about what's going on this month in just 1 second. Please make sure that you are checking the community tab of this channel's pages so that you can see what's going on in the year 2 of the YouTube Academy. It'll send you to a link on the website where you can see what's the next upcoming class, what's the video, how to link to it, what should you be doing, all of that good stuff so you can stay on time and informed as to what is going on, okay? All right, Capricorn, now let's see what's going on in the June cosmic sky. Right at the beginning of the month on the 3rd, we've got Mercury coming out of retrograde, so coming direct at 26 degrees of Taurus, fellow Earth energy. Now, this is going to light up your 5th house space. So we're talking children, joy, pleasure, romance, self-expression, conception of things, where you're willing to take a risk or take a gamble on doing something in this area, okay? Now, as Mercury is coming direct, I want you to keep in mind that between 26 degrees of Taurus and 4 degrees of Gemini, so between today on the 3rd and June 18th, this is all the same story you've been looking at for a while. You may have new perspective on it, but the issue, the challenge, the situation is the same thing. You may just be applying new knowledge or perspective to it, okay? So as Mercury is direct today, do it. If you need to sign your contracts, you need to do any of that kind of stuff, feel free to move forward, but also step back into April of this year. What was happening for you around the Taurus zone that now you have a different view on it, all right? On the 4th, we're going to see Saturn step into its retrograde in the energy of Aquarius at 25 degrees. Now, we'll see Saturn take this retrograde from 25 degrees of Aquarius, moving back to 18 degrees of Aquarius until October 22nd. So again, focus in on these degrees of this planetary movement between 25 and 18 of Aquarius in your chart. What is this lighting up for you? In the general, this is, of course, lighting up your 2nd house space. So where, Capricorn, have you been put in a position where you're really having to get honest and tighten up things around your money and your finances, right? Saturn puts a limit there and it pushes down on you and says, hey, level up in this area. Or if you have really figured it out and you've got some good mastery here, Saturn is also helping you to deliver that mastery as expertise, and that can be turned into a financial benefit to you or a value benefit. Let me say that to you, because also I think some good questions in the 2nd house are, how are you valuing yourself? Is there somebody else in your life who your value is hanging off of and dependent on if they do something? These are big, big questions for Capricorn to consider at this time, okay? As we get to the 13th, we're going to see Mercury creeping forward now into this energy of Gemini. So now we move from looking at this 5th house area to looking at 6th house. So now you have a different perspective on same old issues, but different perspective on daily routines. Things about your health, your wellness. How are you of service to people? What's going on with your mental wellness? These are questions that Mercury is starting to produce some answers to because it's curious. It's gathering information. Do I have the kind of daily routine that I feel satisfied with? These are great questions to tackle at this time. Now, as we get to the 14th, we've got a full moon happening at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. And this, I think, is a really significant moon. The full moon asks us to end something, acknowledge something, or make an adjustment. The fact that this moon is lighting up your 12th house space of quiet, restoration, rejuvenation, and is square to Neptune, who is taking on your 3rd house energy, it really makes me question, Capricorn, are you getting downtime? Are you getting rest? Are you getting rejuvenation? Are you free from some behaviors? You know, have you had some ideas, actions, behaviors that have proved so overwhelming that you literally have to take a step back in order to reevaluate what's going on? Is there a creative skill or talent that you feel like you've been missing out on by being so busy and having so much chatter out here? Has there been so much Neptune in your mind? I'm not sure what is what. I'm not sure when it's going to land, that you're like, I need a break. I just need a little break, right? And this may prove to be a bit of a conflict between what you see as truth, who you see as your great teachers, and needing to have a slowdown and let you be your own guru and best teacher of what you need right now. So contemplate that and see what you can end, acknowledge, or adjust for your own well-being, because squaring this Neptune in the third house, something about your thinking might not be, it might be like misaligned. You're not seeing something as clearly. So let's see what comes into focus, okay? On the 21st, we're going to see the sun enter into the energy of Cancer, lighting up that 7th house space. So now relationships are getting light, heat, life, and vitality. And you're looking at, you know, what's the emotional quality? Where do you feel safe and secure and protected and beloved in your relationships? What relationships feel like home? Now, I think that even though it's your 7th house, I also just go Cancerian on the whole thing. And what is going on with your domestic relationships? What's happening there? Is there a shift? Is there a change happening to them? Because whatever it is, the sun in Cancer, I think, is really quite powerful for saying, this is what gives me security. So I need to nurture this so that I'm good, right? Instead of putting it on someone else in the relationship, you say, here's what I got to do to be good and show up in this relationship. And then you know where those boundaries are between the me and the we. On the 22nd, we see Venus move into the energy of Gemini, lighting up the 6th house space. Venus acts as that magnetizing energy. So it's pulling help. It's pulling opportunities. For my friends out there who do freelance work or are independent contractors, anything like that, this is calling in work to you. Now, Venus is still Venus, right? So this could absolutely, in your daily routine, you think you're just going out to have that little walk, or you're just logging on to check your email that day, and Venus drops a little love bomb into your space. Absolutely possible. But I also think an even better use of Venus in your Gemini sector, in your 6th house, is to look at how you can make your daily routine pleasurable. What's your pleasure principle around your health, around your wellness, around how you talk to yourself? These are great things to consider this month, because those are going to turn into golden, useful, magnetic nuggets for you to turn into something valuable down the road. On the 28th, a little bit of a busy day. We've got Neptune stepping into its retrograde at 25 degrees of Pisces, and we will see Neptune in retrograde all the way till December, but it won't end the full cycle until March. Okay, so just know this is a long cycle. March to March is really how we work with Neptune cycles. So pay attention, I think, the most between now and December. When Neptune goes retrograde, it can feel like the fantasy has fallen out of our world, which sometimes can actually feel very nice, because when Neptune is in the air, sometimes things can feel like, is that real? Is that not real? And so as Neptune goes retrograde, it's like, this is the reality. So it is a concrete reality. So your thinking is going to get real concrete. It's not this idea or this vision that you have about things. It's, what's the truth? What's the information? What are you thinking about? What are your fingers touching? What are you being indecisive about? Because we need to make some decisions, and you've been indecisive because you couldn't see what was what. Well, here's some facts, right? Because it kind of dries out that fantasy. And the really nice part of that is that you can use it to solidify your thinking, your learning. How are you learning? What do you need to be learning? Conversations with siblings, buying and selling of things. Things get real clear at this particular time. Now, on the same day, and to end out our month, we're going to have a new moon in the energy of Cancer at 7 degrees, okay? Now, the new moon is when we are planting our seeds of intention to begin something new, have a fresh experience, where we become open-minded enough to say, I'm willing to try a different way to have relationships, to show up in my relationships. Now, this particular moon is also square to Jupiter, who's in Aries. Wonderful. We love that. We love the gusto of Jupiter in Aries, but it can also, under this square, make you say, okay, I'm going to just go big or go home. And this can be a misjudgment, okay? Or this can be, I'm going to go big or I'm going to go home. Let's do it. Let's get into this. You're the one, right? Relationships. And then you get 3 weeks into this thing and you're like, boop, boop, hold on. I did too much. You know what I mean? So I want you to go big and go home wherever you can. I just also don't want you to necessarily do it right here at the new moon. Give yourself some space to say, I'm willing to have an increase or a new pattern in my relationships. I'm willing to nurture relationships in a way that makes me feel secure, that makes my partnerships feel secure, that makes my business, if that's the kind of relationship that's in question here, feel secure. I just will also do that by owning my own space, being wise about that, and then extending a space for others to show up how they need to, and we can see if this is the right alignment. That's a little bit of a better use of that particular energy. Now, the other piece of energy that I think is really good to consider is that it's because it is a square between the moon and Jupiter, it is a place of conscious, gentle, honest surrendering to the fact that there may be more than just your truth at play, which will naturally do Cancerian things and nurture all sides of a relationship by allowing different voices and perspectives to be heard, right? So lots going on the table, I think, for you this month, Capricorn. And it's not all just like trudging and throwing it forward and let's get to what next. There is this sense of having to pause and put put your head where your hands are this month and work on what's right in front of you, because that's where really the good golden nuggets are at to bring your life to that next place you're looking to come to, all right? All right, my beautiful Capricorn friends, like this video, comment, share, subscribe. I love you a ton, and I'll see you next month. Bye, everyone.